Call the meeting to order. August 11th, session at 9 a.m. Let's call the roll, please.
Alt.
Here.
Anderson. Barron.
Here.
Bill. Crow.
Present.
Curtis.
Present.
Hanson. Okay. Half-Barton.
Here.
Kyle.
Yes.
Crumweedy.
Present.
Lamie.
Here.
Kersley. Raymond.
Present.
Schmidt.
Present.
Schultz.
Here.
Schuer.
Here.
Bosmer. Whitlow.
Here.
Dumas.
Yes. Prayer meeting.
Our prayer is led today by Pastor Wyckoff from St. John's Lutheran Church of Buffalo.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask you to be with this board and its meeting this day. In all ways, we ask you to give its members wisdom in all their decisions, skill and diligence in all their duties, that they may prove to be faithful stewards of the offices entrusted to them and servants to your people. Be with the staff who aids them, that in all ways you would bless them and give them skills in their duties. And we pray especially for those who have suffered loss and damage in the floods and rain, that you would be with them, to comfort them, to strengthen them, and to lend a speedy recovery so that they might rejoice in your providence. Lord, all these things we entrust into your hands through your Son, Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Everybody has the agenda in front of them. Motion to approve the agenda. On the alt. Second for Curtis. Any questions on the agenda? Not. Voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Motion to approve the minutes for both the July 14th recess session and the July 21st special session. Motion to approve it. Kevin Hanson is in second. Russell Bill. Any question on the minutes? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Motion to approve the payroll.
So moved.
Crumley, second. Sure. Any questions on the payroll? Can you call the roll?
Anderson.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Half-Barton.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yes.
Crumweedy.
Yes.
Lamie.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Schultz.
No.
Schuer.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Dumas.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Public comment. Half-Barton. This on?
Well, now,
Yeah.
I attended the Republican Precinct Committee meeting where 3 nominees had been named to fill the left chair left empty by Susan Lynn Binns. After the nominations were closed, they decided to go against the precedent that established when Jean Hiles had been nominated to fill her husband's empty chair. She had no parameters placed on her, but there were parameters placed on these nominees. These parameters disqualified 2 of the nominees. Then they decided to remove the parameters for the future, but not for these nominees. The only candidate left just happened to be a precinct committeeman. He has run for the county board twice and been rejected by the voters both times. Now they're sending to us to appoint him to a position the voters have said no to. This will be a slap in the face to the voters of District 4 and will show them that the board has no respect for their choices. Let's call a spade a spade. The precinct committeemen have used a political maneuver to disqualify two candidates and be able to send us Dan Joyce as their nominee. Anyone seeking or accepting an appointment after being rejected twice by the voters has no pride and no respect for the voters of District 4. It'd be his way of sneaking in the back door when the front door has been slammed in his face. I've talked with Susan Wynn Benz, and she told me of a conversation she had with the chairman. She didn't have to resign, but they both agreed that she did. He wouldn't appoint Dan Joyce. Then I talked with the chairman, and he told me he had made this agreement. Now here we are about to see him break his word. Only he can tell you why. I know it's not because he's bound to a candidate that's been rejected twice by voters, or a District 4, or to parameters that were enacted only to disqualify other candidates when a precedent has already been established. I can only believe he's been given in to outside pressures. The chairman has the power to appoint anyone he believes would be the best for District 4 and the county board. I find it hard to believe that is Dan Joyce. I arranged a meeting with Sherry Johnson and the chairman. She was one of the candidates disqualified by parameters that were never used before. She's past Citizen of the Year at Watseka, and far more qualified and respected than Dan Joyce. I spoke with her after the meeting, and she told me the chairman didn't seem interested in appointing her. But she's going to run in 2016, and with her help and the help of my constituents, I will find another electable woman to run in 2016, and the voters will have a chance to correct what's going to happen here today. Susan Wynn Benz is now one of my constituents, and she will probably be more than happy to help me.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. I'm Shane Coulter, and I'm chairman of the Iroquois County Republican Party. It's an honor to be here this morning. Kind of brings back old memories. I was on the county board for about 14 years. And I look back on it with very fond memories. Abraham Lincoln ran several times for office and was defeated. He seemed to turn out all right. I would like to just go over the process that we used and make some clarifications on what exactly transpired. By a state statute, when a vacancy is declared either Republican or Democrat, the county chairman is notified in writing. And in Iroquois County, traditionally, we have held a precinct committee and held a vote as to who replaces or who the recommendation is. And all we do is make a recommendation to the county board chairman. In this situation, we had three candidates. And I take full responsibility for the way that this played out, and it's no one's fault but my own. I thought that, and I've been involved in several processes where candidates have been picked with the state legislature several times, and even to Senate, replacement of the senator. So I know the process that is involved, and what I liked about it is that someone can call themselves a Republican, but if they haven't been involved in county politics, you need some kind of verification. So I took the process that we used to replace representatives and senators, and I tried to apply it. And I made the mistake of having the candidates named and then put the qualifications on. And I accept that responsibility. I should have put out the parameters of what the qualifications ahead of time, and then let the candidates apply. And then I take full responsibility for doing that. But I don't apologize for having qualifications. I think when someone calls themselves a Republican, there should be something verifiable to be able to prove that they are Republicans. And in this case, what we voted on as a group was that in the last 5 primaries, they couldn't have voted Democrat, and they had to vote in the Republican primary 3 times. That's all there was. And some people have accused us of looking at the candidates' records and then bringing qualifications so that they would be disqualified. And I can tell you 100% that is not the case, and that did not happen here. I never had any idea as to what qualifications what these candidates would pass or wouldn't pass. But I think it is important to have some kind of standard. And I think voting in 3 Republican primaries is not really a very high standard. If it was just left up to me, I would have insisted on voting in all 5 Republican primaries in order to be picked. Now, this is a political process, and it is replacing a Republican candidate. So I think it behooves us as Republicans and as the county chairman to make sure that the person we put in is a Republican. And so I would stand behind these qualifications 100%. Now, at our next meeting, we're going to look at the process, and we're going to decide what we want to do in the future. And I'll be pushing, and I have no qualms about doing this, having some kind of record where they have voted in a Republican primary in order to be appointed to something to the county board or anywhere else. Because we want to verify if they are Republicans. Just to say they're Republicans, that's great. We'd like some kind of verification. So in this case, it really wouldn't have mattered whether we disqualified these people or not, because Dan Joyce, having been on as a precinct committeeman for a number of years, he would have won anyway. He would have. And so saying that we eliminated these candidates, I have no problem eliminating. And it's up to the voters. This is only for an unexpired term. And as you said, these people will run for election. And that's the ultimate test. Let the people run and let the people of the district decide. And I'm in favor of that. But as far as the nomination that we came up with, I support it wholeheartedly, and I support the process, even though I did make a mistake in having the qualifications after the nominations. And I apologize for that. So are there any questions? Mr. Harshfire, have you got a question for me?
I have information to Director Gorpole.
Somebody from the county clerk's office, are they here to verify that? I never looked at the records. Were they polled? Were they polled prior to the committee?
Not that I know of, no.
I know that I had no part in looking at anybody's record. We appointed a committee to do that. As far as I know, that's the only time we looked at.
And you had people in your own precinct committee that argue against disqualifying them because they wanted Sherry Johnson in there.
Yes, I would argue that. That's true. But it's a democratic process, and the committeeman voted. I think if you look at the vote, it was overwhelmingly in favor of Dan Joyce. And if this, and I have nothing against your, the other 2 candidates. They're fine people. I think they make, let them run in the general election and let the people decide. But as a committee, as a Republican committee, and it is a political process. They had no record of voting in precinct. If you call yourself a Republican, vote in the primary. That's all we're asking. And 3 out of the last 5 elections is all we're asking. And no one would have been disqualified. I think one of the candidates had never voted. I think we can't support that as a result. I don't think the Democrats would support something like that. So, any other questions?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but before they just came to you, and they said they'd like you to fill the seat, and are you a Republican? That's all they asked, right?
They didn't even ask if I was Republican.
Well, I'm not going to say that didn't happen. Well, you know, I've been around a long time, and when I wasn't chairman, how it operated, I really can't say. But I can tell you, in years past, that was never the case. I don't know what happened in regard to her. If I'd been on the board, I would have supported her also. But I was cared a lot about Jean, and I'm sure she probably voted in the Republican primaries. But you know, the process is what it is. I think it was fair. I mean, people think that maybe it wasn't fair, but it was a fair process, and it played out like it should. And Dan Joyce was our nominee. So, is there any other questions? Thank you. And I just want to say, Iroquois County is very well served with the board that it has. You don't, you know, I look around at other counties and the cost what it costs to deliver the services that you can deliver is much higher. And I think the people at Iroquois County ought to applaud you and recognize what you do for a very low cost. And I just want to say thanks to each one of
Good morning. I just want to address the public policy changes that are proposed. At the June Policy and Procedures meeting, Mr. Anderson, Mr. Bills, Mr. Schuer, Mr. Schultz, Mr. Raymond, and Mr. Behrens reviewed and agreed to the verbiage of changes that were written by Mr. Schuer. And they forwarded it to Mr. Devine. There's a couple of words that stand out in the original and in Mr. Devine's response to it. The two words that stick out to me are the word privilege and I've forgotten that word. Objectionable. Objectionable was the word that Mr. Devine used to describe 3 of the 6. And I've made the statement, I'm going to make it again, of the last 3 monthly meetings, all meetings, committees, and so on, there was almost no public comment. So that's 3 months, that's a quarter of the year, and there's been almost no public comment. To me, that's enough evidence to say we don't need to put restrictions on it because it's not being used anyway. So that's part of it that I find objectionable, is we just somehow we're worried about this big, terrible meeting that's coming up where we get badgered about something that we're making decisions on. The word privilege is used in one of them. It says, persons making public comments shall respect the privilege and refrain from the use of inappropriate language, innuendos, or other offensive actions. Well, the statement itself really doesn't require to be putting it into the policy because that's just common practice. We wouldn't tolerate somebody doing those things up here, right? Somebody would have to step in, or we're going to have to get a guard at the door to make sure that he can escort people out, okay? The privilege, it isn't a privilege for people to come and address us. It is our privilege when people come to address us. We don't need to restrict what's called here as their privilege. It should be our privilege, and we should encourage as much public comment as we can, because we need to hear from the people that are affected by our decisions. So and the other point that I want to make is the statements on here, they were reviewed and agreed to be sent to Mr. Devine. It doesn't take somebody with a law degree to see that these things are objectionable. We should not be restricting the people communicating with us on the issues that we make decisions on. We need to hear more about how we're affecting our constituents. Thank you.
Credential Committee report. Appoint Russell Bill to be the chairman of the Credential Committee. Review the report that the clerk got for us. Adam, Larry, and Dan Wright. One short in that district. You guys want to convene at the next room or go to the office over there and
I'm open
I get off at 8. Well, Rick's got a wooden phone. I'm supposed to say that baby after with it. Shit, I can't, there's no way. I mean, should I be sitting here bleeding?
That's what they put in fighting me and something else. They put there. Cut yourself sugar.
But I was wondering how it's the other day, I crossed my leg. And I'm not even taking the damn aspirin. I crossed my legs and I hit my shin. And I just bumped. I went up there.
He'd walk in the house and like blood running there and he'd get ready to you know, it wouldn't even
I mean, it's powerful like that. But I swear when you get on a pill, I won't take it.
well, and the thing is, this is the thing. So what if you break your leg and you have a drink in it? Well, yeah.
So I want to get off that as soon as I can. I'm hoping. I see them 9 o'clock.
I'm not getting
You can tell when you get such a stage. You just like got your boat in? I don't know what time. Like you do. I gotta go back. I know the feeling. I understand your feeling, but you weren't here in the first place. When you get up coming at you like that, you gotta have somewhere to rest. I know there's gotta be, that's what we adopt every year.
When I think
Don't go home. Yeah, run away. I'm not sure. That guy like that. I understand.
we're doing our best. We can often have that name over together on. They practice. You're saying those are the kind of things that happen. And then the results of the consequences were people that really upset. That's all about them too.
Mr. Chairman, and members of the county board, your committee from the first church and credentials will today submit the following report on the matters before them. The following members of District 4 Search Committee: Russell Bills, Adam Small, Larry Hashbarty, and Dan Rainey. That at August 11, 2015 at 9:30 a.m. at the Administration Center in Waukesha, Illinois. The committee inspected the credentials of Dan J. Joyce of 2174 North State Route 1, Waukesha, Illinois. It was moved by Dan Rainey and seconded by Adam Dumont to recommend to appoint Daniel J. Joyce of 2174 North State Route 1, Waukesha, to fill the vacancy of the County Board of District 5. 4. It was moved by Adam Dumont and seconded by Larry Hashbarty to adjourn at 9:32 a.m. All of which is respectfully submitted, signed by all members present, and I will move for the adoption of this report.
Motion on the floor to accept the Credentials Committee report. Is there a second? Are we all second? Roll call vote, a yes. Point Dan. Questions on how we're going to proceed here? Seeing none, clerk call roll, please.
Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Crow.
Abstain.
Curtis.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yep.
Hashbarty.
No.
Kyle.
No.
Crumweedy.
Yes.
Lemay.
No.
Raymond.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Schultz.
No.
Schuer.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Dumont.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Anderson.
Vote. Pass. Motion passes 12-4 with one abstaining. Mr. Joyce, would you like to come up here and take your oath of office? County clerk.
Payroll check.
You go in the white flag, I have my second. Again, and repeat after me. I, Dan Joyce, do solemnly swear
I, Dan Joyce, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of County Board of Iroquois County
of the office of County Board of Iroquois County
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Next up, and then the chairman comments, the one sponsor scheduled for the meeting, sorry. We're going to have a change. We're going to have to meet them first, but the finance committee that's going to meet 27th at 10. We're going to do 9. The policy meeting is going to be changed to the 28th to accommodate Andrew Garrett Covey. And that date, confirmed he will be here August 28th for people that want to hear that report, the single 1,000-page report that he's going to give us. 27th, yeah. Finance committee will meet at 9. The policy meeting, August 28th at 9 o'clock. Questions on that? Get it? Here's the other comment. As part of the appointment process, when we can only get 3 people, I know it didn't equal 1, but I think 2 people, they're volunteers to be part of this operation. 6 volumes, I think. It's pretty sad, but anyway, that's 2 people out of the whole district. Not a very good, doesn't look good. And I have several more people. We were already past, I was past the date that this should have been done. I think it's 60 days. We'll get past that. Wait and see if anybody else is going to step up. And we did. We could have voted this. I could have brought 100 names, and the vote was going to be flipped the other way. It may have been 5 to 11, 5 to 12. It was going to die a horrible death until I said, Dan, it's going to happen this way, so it is what it is. Don't like it. I'll be in the office and meeting's over. That's fine. Outside committee report. Tim Merritt.
I don't see too many unfamiliar faces, but in case there is, I'm Ken Peregrine. I'm the Executive Director of Iroquois Economic Development Association. We're not a county committee, or, we're not a county office. We're just we're supported by the county board, and we're more of a committee. The last couple months, due to a little minor surgery and a major flood, I've not had a chance to talk to you for a while, but a few comments that I can make here. With the uncertainty that we're seeing statewide, nationally, and plus all the rain and the flooding and the marginal crops and everything, they've all combined to kind of keep things moving at a snail pace, but there's a few things that have been popping. It's been really way too quiet lately, so we've begun, at IDA, we've begun building a better inventory of our commercial and industrial land and buildings. the phone isn't ringing nearly enough, so we're going to, instead of waiting till somebody calls and then we scramble to try to find something that we might throw at them, we're hoping that we can inventory the properties, and then when we do get that long-awaited phone call, we'll have specifications readily available. And in my mind, even more important, we can maybe use some of them as carrots or catalysts to try to get something going that instead of waiting so long. The reason I mentioned this today is we need some help scouring the county to find those kind of properties. So if you know anybody that has an industrial, commercial, property, building, whatever, that would like to get it leased or sold, I'd appreciate you having contact our office. We belong to a group called Location One, which is basically the leading online economic development site selection tool. We're a member of that, and so any properties that we get will get listed on there, so that people that are searching for things might get one of ours to pop up. There's no charge to anybody. Make sure they realize if you tell them to call us that we're not realtors, we're not, we're supported by donations in the county. There's no charge for any of that sort of things whatsoever. But please help out if you know of anybody. Have them give us a call. We'll help them get the information together that's needed, maybe get some digital pictures and things so we can press that issue a little bit. A little quick update on Lion out there. Their employment has grown by about 50% since first of the year. I think they're probably about halfway to their total employment. At the end of June, they had 162 workers out there. I think in January there was 111 when they started. And they're guesstimating probably another 50 that will get hired out there. I spoke once before about having a job fair for them, but we really didn't need it. They've made a steady influx of new products from the Ohio plants and that sort of thing. So we did help them with a pay structure comparison. The Lions owners wanted to make sure that they were offering competitive pay and benefits so that they could acquire the best workers. The Burcott's supermarket out there, they're moving forward with their plans for what they call a commissary. When we originally encouraged them to return, I think I mentioned it in one of these meetings, they had speculated on putting a production area in out there for private packaging of foods like sausages and that sort of thing. Right from the start, really when you walk in the store you can't tell it, but there's a section of about 10,000 square feet that was sectioned off for that purpose. And they're now ready to proceed on that, so we're helping get them through the permitting stages, the challenge in the food industry. And that'll end up meaning 10 to 15 good new jobs. Now QSE, Quality Service Electronics, they got just inundated again by floodwaters out there. So they're closing that plant. They're not going to pick the back up, they're not going to reopen there. At peak times there was probably 40 people working out there. They were talking about moving to Indianapolis, but we offered them, I guess, some options to stay in Iroquois County, and they're studying the pros and cons of what we've offered to them. And once again, T&D Metal Products and Big R have stepped in and offered some options that can help to maybe keep QSE here in the county. I mentioned a new sandwich shop out on the west end called the Weenie Shack, opened across the street from the Kings Corner, in the old Kings Corner location, across the street from where the new Casey's was intended to go. I guess I bring that up because whenever something new happens, Dan and I were just talking, it seems like when something bad happens, it happens in spades. One thing knocks another one down. The same way when something new happens, when we get something new and shiny and bright, usually it gets some people thinking, and there's some spin-offs, and I'm just saying that across if the new Casey's wasn't going there, would that have happened? I don't know. But the Casey's, there's a bunch of rumors going around that it's fallen through. I contacted the principal, it was probably first of last week, and they said everything was still on track for fall, so, it just, made me think of it when Dan and I were talking. I proposed the Gilman Industrial Park. What a sad deal, that's such a great location. I proposed it again to another prospect, and I've proposed the former Bosch building out here a couple more times. None are a perfect fit, but you never know when you propose it, when the suggestion's going to hit a hot button. Both those properties offer really good potential to get some employers back in here. I'd like to thank Dan for giving me a couple of suggestions for potential projects. Reading the paper and something popped into mind and he mentioned it to me. Nothing's going on yet. They're kind of long shots. I think Dan agrees they're kind of long shots, but any idea for growth in the county is worth looking into. So, again, please don't hesitate. It seems like a crazy idea to you. Maybe it's not as crazy as you think. So, anyway, I'd like to pursue that just a bit more. I need everybody's help in promoting the county. As good as I think I am, I'm one guy. I continue to hear a lot of negativity. And you can understand it because some of the things that have happened, but I know it's tough when crops are bad and you're standing knee deep in water and the field maybe you're in your house. I've got a couple of rentals that I stood knee deep in some water. And the economy we seem to get lied to a lot on the national stage, and it's tough for many problems, not only here, everywhere. But I just wish people wouldn't have to dwell on the dark side all the time. It seems like everybody just loves to tell how bad things are. There's just as many bright spots out there to look for them as there are dark spots, but everybody keeps spreading the negativity instead of the sunshine. It's just how you look at things, I guess. It's how you phrase things. And I guess I've got something here to indulge me for a couple minutes. I was going to read something here. I picked this up on the internet, so it's the truth. That's the truth. But I'm going to read this. I'd give credit to the author, but it is unknown. So this is a kind of little fun example. Today was the absolute worst day ever. And don't try to convince me that there's something good in every day, because when you take a closer look, the world's a pretty evil place. Even if some goodness does not shine through once in a while, satisfaction and happiness don't last. And it's not true that it's all in the mind and heart, because true happiness can be obtained only if one's surroundings are good. It's not true that good exists. I'm sure you can agree that the reality creates my attitude. It's all beyond my control. And you'll never in a million years hear me say that today was a good day. Way negative, huh? Let me read those same words and start at the bottom. Read them up backwards. Today was a good day. And you'll never in a million years hear me say that it's all beyond my control. My attitude creates the reality. I'm sure you can agree that it's not true that good exists only if one's surroundings are good. True happiness can be obtained because it's all in the mind and heart. And it's not true that satisfaction and happiness don't last. Some goodness does shine through once in a while, even if this world is a pretty evil place, because when you take a closer look, there's something good in every day. And don't try to convince me that today was the absolute worst day ever. Same words, different order. I bring that up because if you, I guess, love Iroquois County as much as I do, I'm encouraging everybody to put a positive spin on stuff. I tried to do that with some of the people involved with the flood, and it's amazing if you don't go along with their negativity, they start to turn a little bit positive and believe again. We got Iroquois County is still a great place to live, raise a family, and we've got good, solid, hard-working people in our county. And I'll bet you there are millions, we don't want them all, we don't want them all to move here, but I bet you there's millions of people out there that would fall in love with Iroquois County if they could just see all of us for what we are. So, I don't know, when you go to talk around start chatting about what's going on around here, and all of a sudden you feel like bashing coming on. Stop and rewind and read from the bottom to the top. Try to put a positive spin on it. I guarantee that you'll not only, the people you're talking to will not only feel better, but you'll feel better too, bragging instead of complaining. And that's just me. Thank you.
Ken? Any other outside committee reports? None? Policy.
Members of the county board or committee whom is referred policy and procedure would beg leave to submit the following report on matters before them. Committee minutes administrative center on July 30th, 2015 at 9 a.m. Members present, the county board vice chairman Dan Raymond, Russell Bills, John Scher, and Lyle Barron. Kyle Anderson, Kevin Hansen, Dale Schultz, and Chuck Crumbly were absent. Also present, county clerk Lisa Fancher, treasurer Minnie Kutagan, finance director Anita Speckman, state attorney Jen Devine, supervisor of assessment Bob Irrigor, 911 director Nina Dugal, IDA director Ken Berry, county board members Larry Haffard and Gene Hiles, and Carla Waters from Times Public. Meeting was called over. County board member Larry Haffard spoke during public comments regarding the location of the 2008 flood files that were previously in the possession of former county board chairman Rod Copas. He was led to believe the files had been taken by Mr. Copas and never returned. Finance director Anita Speckman explained all the 2008 flood files are located in the storage room at the administrative center. Committee chairman gave the following reports. Judicial chairman John Scher reported normal reports will be received and further discussion will be held in regards to the courthouse security. Management Chairman Lyle Barron will receive updates on the ongoing projects and put the county farm contract out for bid. Highway Chairman Russell Bills and his committee will take action on 3 box culverts. Planning and Zoning Chairman Dan Raymond will continue to discuss the enforcement of ordinances with his committee. Subdivision ordinance revisions will also be discussed. Raymond stated the vacancy on the county board will be filled at the August county board meeting. An update was given on the forensic audit. Andrew Garrett with Garrett Discovery. This isn't right, but will be in attendance at the county board meeting August 11th to present the results. The committee reviewed the public comment policy originally drafted by Scher. Scher told the committee that he met with State Attorney Jen Devine to review the policy, which was approved at the last Policy and Procedure Committee meeting. Having done their own research, a revised draft was submitted to the committee and will be distributed to all board members. Initially, State Attorney Jim Devine voiced concerns with setting time limits, but after doing his own research on the subject, he believes that it is appropriate for the board to consider the policy in order to address the sometimes lengthy discussions we've had in the past. Sure also explained the policy is in effect for committee meetings and board meetings. In regards to negotiations, Raymond said they're ongoing. An AFSCME negotiation meeting is scheduled for August 4th, and joint dispatch negotiation meeting is scheduled for August 10th. Committee reviewed the claims. If there was no quorum, it was recommended by Sure to send the claims to the Finance Committee for approval. Meeting adjourned at 9:13 a.m. All of which is respectfully submitted, signed by all members present, and I move for its adoption. Second by Russell Bills. Any questions on the policy and procedure committee? I don't know, did everybody get an email of the public comment policy? I know you just got one now, but was it emailed? Anybody? I know it was emailed to me, but did everybody get it? No?
I think it was put, I thought Amanda said it was put in the mailboxes.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I agree with Vince's statement about the public comment policy. I can think of 2 times when public comment went on forever and ever on hot button issues. And I agree that it's our privilege to sit here and listen to the elected constituents bring their concerns and stand at the podium. I don't see anybody abusing it, really. I think our board chairman has the opportunity to say, you know, Sheriff, remove this person, or that's enough, please take your seat, if they're out of line. It seems like one more rule, one more regulation, one more page to put in a book, and I'm just not sure that there's a need for that. And lastly, I for one don't want to vote to infringe on anybody's right to free speech, and I think that's limited.
Kevin?
I don't want to infringe on anybody's free speech either. Every meeting we have free speech all the time. These hot button issues, a lot of times are just a line up the ringing when you haven't got a choice. I don't see anything wrong with this policy.
Ben? I move to remove that section from the report.
There was never a motion. I mean, we could remove it, but there was never a motion. So you have to make a separate one now. And mine, you can do whatever you want, but everybody as a whole, but
So then what's where are we at in terms of the public policy?
I mean, if it's on the agenda, you can either make a motion to accept it, or we can just send it back to policy and they can make a motion to come out of there. And if it isn't.
Right now?
Right, there's nothing standing right
Okay,
now.
so-
You approve this,
It hasn't changed anything?
I'll change it.
Okay.
1-1, probably isn't gonna hurt us. Any other questions, Dale?
You changed the date of the policy procedure for accepting the report from Garrett.
And the regular policy meeting, and it'll be all inclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it was originally set up to come to the Fisk County Board meeting.
yeah. Last month I said if we were gonna work around his schedule.
Okay, but it's no longer coming to the county board meeting, it's only going to the policy.
To the policy meeting right now. If you want him to come, I can try to get him to come to the full board also. He's gonna present his findings, have approximately 1,000-page report, but he's also gonna have a summary report that everybody will get. And like that, I can either call him or have Amanda call him and see if he can come back the following Tuesday. Try to work around his schedule. You'd like to see him in attendance at both of them?
Well, it was originally intended that it come to the full board, and I think it's important that happen, that it come to the full board, whether it comes to policy and procedure or not.
We can push, try to get him to come to both.
No, that's up to this
I
board.
was hoping he would accommodate us, but
Could we make a special board meeting the day of the policy and procedure and have him present there?
let me see if they'll come to both. Let me see if they'll come to both, and maybe that'd make it easier. Russell, like, that's the
Well, I would like to see is at least a summary of his report before I even start jockeying for if we want to have special meetings, things like that. You know, I have no idea what he found. And so, I've got to do it, somebody else has made some assumptions or something, but I want to know what he found first before I want to say I want to spend the money to have a special board meeting.
Yeah, we'll have all the copies for everybody, whoever's not in the policy meeting, we'll get you copies either electronically or mail or physically brought to you, whatever you need. That way you have it ASAP, not the 1,000-page report. If you want the 1,000-page report, you can come in. It'll be FOIAs for a 1,000-page report, I'm almost positive of it, but the summary report will be telling in itself. And then right now, we'll leave it a policy meeting, and I'll get in contact with him today and try to get him to vote. Any other questions on the policy report? Troy?
I wanted to comment on the public comment policy. I oppose adding that, but not for the same reasons as some of the others. I am against more rules. I think we've bloated things enough. And what we don't want to do is send any more of a message to the public that we don't want to speak. I think we have trouble with that anyway. And I think that it would be better if you look back how we've handled the big ones. If there's 100 people in the room, then maybe we can set parameters prior to that so everybody can speak. If there's only a few people in the room, then you can open it up a little more.
Don't get me wrong, I don't think you can just arbitrarily set, after you see the crowd, decide what you want to do. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, but I'm not saying enforce it, but, if there's 500 people in here, it'd be hard to let everybody speak for a half hour. So I think you can control the Robert's Rules of Orders, and we've been elected to listen, and that's why we're here.
Any other questions on the public comment policy?
the Policy and Procedure Committee report. John?
I would just like to say regarding the public comment policy that both Mr. Devine and I did independent research, and we found many public bodies ranging from county boards, library boards, university boards, you name it, that all have public policies. We reviewed them carefully. We felt that what we have here is a good amalgamation. Its intent is to encourage public participation, but at the same time to keep it in an orderly and efficient way. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that shows the public that we're interested in conducting the public's business in a proper way and not allowing someone to get up and monopolize the things that has happened in the past. If we don't have a policy in place, someone could get up and talk for 4 hours about why the Cubs haven't won the World Series since 1908. I don't think we want that. We've had other situations where individuals have got up and abused the privilege. That's all this is intended to do, to allow people to speak in an orderly and proper way. We want to encourage that. That's the purpose of the policy. That's what the state attorney and I both discussed at length. We both agreed on this. I don't know what more people expect, but I think it's something we ought to put in place ourselves.
I guess there'll be a motion in the next month's policy meeting to that effect. I'll be coming from Mr. Scherr. Any other questions on policy? Reporting Lyle.
So at this time, this is not going to be approved or denied by this vote. I thought it was recommended in the policy meeting. Didn't reflect that. Didn't have a form, but it was recommended.
It was recommended to bring it before the whole board. That's why it's on the agenda.
But there has never been a motion made to approve it. So at this time, it's not going to, this policy won't be voted on.
I don't believe so.
Approving these minutes won't
There's
approve
no-
that
yeah.
policy.
Dale, did you have something?
Just the idea that I think in the policy meeting prior, not this last one, but when it was approved, it was approved to be sent to Jim. I don't think it was approved at that time pending Jim's changes. I think it was approved to be sent to him for his perusal.
Jim shaking his head. Again, I think we'll go with, it'll come back to policy. Approve this report, nothing's gonna change. Everybody okay with that? If not, one more shot at it. Any other questions? Seeing none, clerk call the roll, please.
Bill.
Yes.
Crowe.
Yes.
Curtis. Hanson. Hasbargen. Kyle.
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes.
Crumweedy.
Yes.
Lemay.
Yes.
Raymond. Schmidt. Schultz.
Yeah.
Schuer.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Kimball.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Anderson. Barron.
Yes.
Okay, next up is negotiations. National Conference account. Yeah.
Okay. Members of the county board, your committee was referred to negotiations will beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Committee met at Administrative Center on August 4th, 2015 at 11 a.m. Members present were Anderson and Scherr. Anthony and Raymond were absent. Also present, absent members Susan Begovich, John Smith, Kevin Woodby, Ron Eman, Joey Billings, Finance Director Dean Beckman, Board of Labor Legal Representative Dave Hibben, and AFSCME Legal Representative David Beck. Meeting was called to order. The committee met to discuss ongoing negotiation activities. Meeting adjourned at 2:53 p.m., all of which is respectfully submitted by all members present. And that one is just for
Now,
handout you just got, we did reach, back into there, we did reach yet another tentative agreement. And before we go through it, ask the members did sign off on a tentative agreement?
Yes.
Last week,
Yes.
a Thursday,
Yes.
signed off on it. Now it is on the agenda, a motion, we're gonna accept it or not, but if everybody kind of remembers where we were at 18 months ago, or whenever it started, or didn't start, it started long before that, but remember we had the layoff language in there, the no layoff language that we didn't like mildly, so there was an unfair labor practice filed, but forever, but we did get an administrative law judge to rule on it. That's when we voted we had to vote on the agreement, voted no, go back, started again with negotiations. What we ended up coming up to after several hours of back and forth, the AFSCME union agreed to waive the no layoff language in the contract that's tentatively agreed upon. They agreed to drop the unfair labor practice. The effective date of the insurance, if you remember, was going to be April 1st of 2014. The changes to the insurance go into the percentages. We agreed to do that effective July 1st, 2015, which changes some dollar amounts, but we'll get to that in a second. I had 4 years to the agreement, which, you remember way back, we had originally offered a 4th year, and they rejected it. We went 3 years, that's come and gone. But we ended up getting a 4th year at 35-cent increase. Here overall salary increases are 20 cents and 4 of 1 of 14, 30 cents 12/1 of 2014, 30 cents 12/1 of 2015, 35 cents 12/1 of 2016. And as of July 1st, the insurance co-pays will be 20% for single coverage, 50% for all others. And 12/1 of 2015, the insurance co-pay will get to 25% single, 50% for all others. The most pressing is the money. Turns out here, the whole back pay, to go retro back to when we started this, is going to amount to $25,361.84. By changing the insurance date, which I think helps get this tentatively agreed to, and that number added about $6,300, Anita, is that?
Yeah,
around
6313.
6313. That added that to the total, which ended up being total net that the AFSCME members, I'm going to quit or retire, but all the ones that were affected, total net $24,357.57. Back pay and with the insurance, of which $16,904 is budgeted in this fiscal year. Again, the 6313, it had to be give and take. We felt like that was a good give to go in this fiscal year's budget, as opposed to not giving another, say, nickel. At the end of the 4th year or whatnot, that keeps compounding, we're able to tentative, right, get $6,300 paid and not continually add to the payroll at the end. But I know I probably missed something. Anita, any questions on the tentative agreement? If not, they'll have copies if anybody wants a full copy of the whole contract. Will be down there for you, but Donna.
Under the insurance copay, is that, when we use the term copay, are you referring to the provisions in terms of the policy, or is this the employee's share for what they pay for the premium?
The employee's share.
So-
There used to be a flat dollar amount, and Anita might be able to rattle that off real quick on top of that. I can't. There was
it was $50. It's been $50 per month for the employee share of the insurance. And what we did, starting with FOP 12/1/2013, is moved it to a percentage basis. So last year it was for the FOP 15%, this year 20, next year 25. It kind of eased into the employees paying 25%. So what this does is really move the AFSCME people into the same structure as FOP, and then last month we voted to change non-union to the 20%, so it makes everybody consistent.
But the single employees are paying 20%?
Of the premium cost for the single rate
Right. And all others are paying half, 50%?
of
Like
the rate.
family or couples?
Right.
Okay.
Kevin? Yeah, something?
We did a motion to approve.
Yeah. And entertain a motion to approve
Make a motion.
the contract as presented. John Sure seconds it. Mr. Beck, did I miss anything? Mrs. Speak? Okay. Yeah. Any other questions on the tentative agreement? The contract as presented to the negotiating committee. Motion on the floor in a second. Let's call the roll.
Crowe,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Aspargan,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yes.
Crumley,
Yes.
Lemay,
Yes.
Raymond, Schmidt,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Whitlow,
Yes.
Zumal,
Yes.
Alt,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
15-0. Anybody wants on the negotiations committee? They're all over there too. Step away if somebody wants to take it. Next up, Kevin for about the next hour.
We got 4 of these. Mr. Chairman, members of the county board and the finance committee who has referred finance with Big League to submit the following report before the committee met in Administrative Center July 27, 2015 at 8:30 a.m. Members present were Brett Smith, Charlie Alt, Russell Bills, Ernie Curtis, Dan Raymond. I was absent. Also present was County Board Chairman Kyle Anderson, Finance Director Nina Speckman, Treasurer Mary Booth Hagan, Supervisor of Assessment Bob Yergler, Coroner Bill Cheatham, Regional Superintendent Greg Murphy, Public Defender Dale Stroud, Maintenance Supervisor 5 minutes, County Board members Donna Kroll, Larry Hasbargen, and Gene Hiles. The meeting was called to order. Finance Director Nina Speckman distributed budget binders to the committee, which includes all budget worksheets that have been returned to her. Speckman presented her budget as follows. Salary increases of 2% were requested for Speckman and the administrative assistant. Deputy clerk salary increases were set through AFSCME contract. Speckman noted she included contract salary increases for all departments before they get their budget worksheet. Speckman explained the increases of office expenses due to leases on the new car. System expense line item shows significant decrease, $17,000 to $1,300. The amount budgeted is for the typical new laptop for Speckman. Supervisor assessment Bob Yergler presented his budget, which consisted of a combination of planning and zoning and assessment. Salary increases were requested for himself and his chief deputy. Service contract line was completely eliminated from $15,000 to $0 due to not purchasing the CAMA system at this time. Treasurer Mindy Coots Hagan reviewed her proposed budget with the committee. Salary increase was requested for her chief deputy. An increase was made for postage The committee reviewed Dale Stroh's proposed budget. Salary increases were requested for himself and the assistant public defender. Regional Superintendent Greg Murphy reviewed his proposed fiscal year 2016 budget with the committee. Murphy stated there is an overall $13,000 decrease in the budget. The budget is split 76% to Kankakee County and 24% to Iroquois County. Iroquois County's 24% amounts to $73,908 for fiscal year 2016. Coroner Bill Cheatham presented his budget. No salary increases were requested. Cheatham noted more fees are increasing, hence the reason for the $10,000 increase in the autopsy and x-rays line item. Once the scheduled department heads presented their budget, Speckman told the committee she is working on payroll analysis that consists of all salary increases that have been requested thus far. Also, most of the revenue work is finished, but she would like to review the rents of the building and some other items. She also told the committee to expect approximately 10 to 15% decrease in rent for the county farm. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Charlie All and seconded by Dan Raymond to adjourn at 9:49 a.m. Motion carried by voice vote. All were respectively submitted. Yes. Mr. Chairman, the committee and members of the county board, your committee to whom you refer to the finance will legally submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on July 28, 2015 at 8:30 a.m. Members present were Kevin Hanson, Brett Smith, Charlie All, Russell Bills, Ernie Curtis, Dan Raymond. Also present were County Board Chairman Kyle Anderson, Finance Director Anita Spetney, Treasurer Minnie Coonshagen, Sheriff Derek Kagan, State Attorney Jim Devine, County Clerk Lisa Fancher, County Engineer Joel Moore, Visitor Director Eric Stacey, Maintenance Supervisor Clyde Mintz, Animal Control Administrator Dr. Youssef, County Board Members Lyle Behrens, Donna Crowe, Larry Hasbargen, Gene Hiles, and John Schiff. The meeting was called to order. Maintenance Supervisor Clyde Mintz presented his budget as follows. The salary increase was requested for Mintz. Part-time janitor salary is set for union contract. Mintz explained the increase in the services contract is due to adding a mat service to clean our mats throughout the building every other week. Reduction was noted in natural gas due to a new boiler. Maintenance and repairs increased by $1,000 to replace road signage. Mintz requested an extra $3,000 in household supplies for the purchase of a new vacuum. Capital Improvement Fund includes $45,000 for a heat pump replacement and $7,000 for paint to touch up the exterior of the building. State Attorney Jim Devine reviewed his proposed budget with the committee. Salary increase is requested for one of his assistants, State's Attorney. Derek Hagan provided his proposed budget. Hagan began with capital expenses, and Hagan requested the purchase of 2 squad cars for patrol and 2 detective vehicles amounting to $100,000. Also, the water lines on the second floor of the jail need replaced for a cost of $15,000. The salaries were set pursuant to collective bargaining agreement. County Clerk Lisa Fancher presented her budget. Salary increases were requested for both chief deputies. Ballots and supplies increased due to two elections in 2016. ESDA Director Eric Cece reviewed his proposed budget with the committee. Office expense and mileage for both show increases. The CC decreased education and dues. A salary increase was requested as well as full-time status. He noted there is a grant that reimburses 50% of his EMA salaries. Animal Control Administrator, Dr. Youssef, discussed his budget with the committee. Dr. Youssef explains the separation of animal control from the Treasurer's Office. A new software is underway, and a new secretary will be handling animal control duties. A salary increase was requested for himself and the animal control warden. An increase was also requested for animal care line item. Finance Director Anita Speckman provided analysis on 4 counties for animal control and all salaries for the administrator are approximately $30,000 that they also serve as warden. County Engineer Joe Moore presented his budget. Moore noted very few changes on the revenue side for the county highway. The annual $10,000 transfer from both the general fund and the GIS fund are still in place. Road supplies and purchasing of equipment have decreased. Motor fuel tax revenues show an increase for a jurisdictional transfer. A salary increase for more was requested. Other increases are set through the union agreement. As there are no further business to come by the committee, it's moved by Charlie Alden, seconded by Dan Reed, to adjourn at 11:02. Motion carried by voice vote, all which is respectively submitted. Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, your committee to whom is referred finance will beg leave to submit the following report on matters for approval. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on July 29th at 8:38, 5 a.m. Members present were Kevin Hansen, Brett Smith, Charlie Alt, Russell Bills, Ernie Curtis, Dan Raymond. Also present were Finance Director Anita Speckman, Treasurer Mindy Coons-Hager, County Clerk Lisa Fancher, Supervisor Assessments Bob Yergler, Judge James Kinzer, Circuit Clerk Lisa Hines, Probation Director Tom Layton, and County Board members Larry Hasbarger and Gene Hines. The meeting was called to order. Judge James Kinzer presented his budget as follows. Kinzer explained the special attorney hire cannot be predicted, but he increased it by $10,000 due to the 2015 forecast. He suggests hiring another assistant public defender in hopes of saving the county money. The 2 juries were eliminated next year, taking us down to 6 instead of 8. Kinzer requested a $1,000 increase for his chief deputy. Circuit Clerk Lisa Hines reviewed her proposed budget with the committee. A salary increase of $2,000 was requested for her chief deputy. The deputy clerk's increases are set per union agreements. A $25,000 transfer will still be made to the general fund from the document storage, and a $25,000 transfer will be made to the general fund from automation. Probation Director Tom Layton presented his proposed budget to the committee. A 2% salary increase was requested for probation supervisor. The probation officer salary followed the FOP contract. Layton noted an increase in office expenses and a decrease in mileage. Tuition and reimbursements is budgeted at $3,500, but Layton said he doesn't anticipate it being used. Finance Director Anita Speckman distributed revenue spreadsheets to the committee. The committee reviewed the revenues and are looking at an already $375,000 shortfall. Speckman said almost $100,000 is from the FOP salary increases alone. The committee asked for more time to review this worksheet and will discuss in more detail at the next financial budget meeting. As there is no further business to come before the committee, it is moved by Russell Bills and seconded by Charlie Alt to adjourn at 10:53 a.m. Motion carried by vote. All which is respectively submitted. And I move for their adoption.
Motion on the floor to accept the three budget hearing meetings. Any questions on the budget hearing meeting? Call the roll.
Curtis.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yeah.
Askebargen.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes.
Crumley.
Yes.
Lemay.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Whitlock.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
Carried 18-0. Kevin?
Okay. Mr. Chairman, members of the county board, this committee to whom is referred finance is begged leave to submit the following report of matters before your committee met at the Administrative Center on August 6, 2015, 9 a.m. Members present were Kevin Hansen, Brett Smith, Charlie Alt, Russell Bills, Ernie Curtis, and Dan Raymond. Also present were Finance Director Ian Spatman, County Clerk and Recorder Lisa Banker, Sheriff Eric Hagan, Supervisor of Assessment Bob Yergler, Probation Director Tom Latham, ESDA Director Eric Cece, IC PhD Administrator D. Shepard, 911 Director Nida Google, Chief Deputy in the Treasurer's Office Yvonne Doggett, and County Board members Larry Askebargen, Gene Hiles, and Randy Schultz of Schultz Insurance. The meeting was called to order. There were no public comments. Randy Schultz reported the only activities for the month is the adding of a 2015 Peterbilt to the insurance policy for the highway department. It's not a Peterbilt, but we did an ad truck. What was that truck, Russell?
K-Walker.
Kenworth? Yeah, so that should be changed to the insurance policy for the highway department. Finance Director Anita Spectrum told the committee this national with an insurance broker was scheduled to speak to the committee this morning, but however, after speaking with them yesterday, it was agreed that they would not attend unless the insurance rates unless they had an insurance rates to present, because the committee would be making a decision today. In the future, just the national would like to meet with the board. The committee discussed the fiscal year 16 group insurance. Last month, CIBC and Homestar presented their proposal. Since then, CIBC offered to lower their annual fee of $8,000 to $7,200. Homestar's proposal includes three options. First option is the plan we are currently following, including HRA costing approximately $512,258.25. The next option excludes all their commission, but still includes HRA costing approximately $508,001.25. The last option includes commissions but does not include HRA, which costs approximately $591,648. It was moved by Russell Bill and seconded by Charlie Alt to continue with Homestar Insurance Services as the county's insurance broker and exclude commissions from their proposal. A roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. 911 Director Nida Dubel presented her budget to the committee, beginning with the Joint Dispatch Fund. Dubel discussed the revenue side first. Dubel explained they lost Stockland Ambulance Service and Savannah Police Department, causing both of those revenue lines to decrease. The other revenue lines remain the same because they are set by the 2-year contract. On the defense side, Dubel stated salaries for telecommuters are still in the union negotiation. Dubel moved on to the 911 Emergency Services Board budget. Refunds and reimbursements included a $10,000 salary reimbursement from the sheriff. Dubel explained one of her employees works at the sheriff office 12 hours each week and also fills in during vacation time. While discussing expenses, Dubel noted the 911 board made the following a motion to follow suit with any decisions the county board makes. The committee discuss a follow-up meeting date and time to review the budget numbers received. The date is set August 27th at 10 a.m. immediate following the policy procedure meeting, committee meeting. Until then, Speckman will make changes that have been discussed and revised budget sheets for the meeting. Department heads gave their monthly reports. They are as follows. As the director, Eric C.C. has continued to keep busy with the recovery process of the flooding issues. He stated FEMA is in time. Sheriff Gary Kagan reported to committee that one of the federal lawsuits against him as sheriff has been dismissed by a federal judge. Another case is pending. Gary Kagan also noted the jail completed their annual inspection with no non-compliance. A copy of this report is available in the county clerk's office. Supervisor of Assessment Bobby Yergler told the committee Governor Rauner has declared the county as a disaster. ICPHD Administrator Dee Shepard said she reported to the health department on Tuesday about not receiving state payments. She also stated our health department is in better shape than others. Shepard said other health departments have had to reduce their work weeks, and we have not had to do that yet. In Treasurer Minnie Hayes' absence, Chief Deputy Yvonne Doggett distributed an email to the committee regarding suspension of salary reimbursements for the state attorney, public defender, supervisor of assessment for the 2016 fiscal year. The email states suspension begins in June with the June 2015 payment for supervisor of assessments and the July 2015 statements for the state's attorney and public defender. The committee reviewed claims. It was moved by Russell Bills and seconded by Ernie Curtis to pay the bill subject to county board approval. Roll call vote is taken. Motion carried. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Dan Raymond and seconded by Curtis to adjourn at 10:02 a.m. Motion carried by voice vote. All which is respectfully submitted, and I move for its adoption.
Motion on the floor is the Finance Committee report. Is there a second?
Anita?
The minutes about the insurance, I want to be clear, it says excluding the commission. The commission, I want the board to understand, we're still going to pay a commission. It'll be billed hourly, and it's separate. It is not built into the premium, but we would still be paying a commission. It's estimated at $7,200 for the fiscal year. I didn't want there to be a motion that passes saying we're not going to pay the commission.
Any questions on the Finance Committee report?
Should that be changed in the original, in the final report?
Yeah, she did.
But
Yeah, she'll bring them.
Okay.
Got it. Any other questions?
The suspension of salary reimbursements has been built into the budget.
Not yet.
Not yet, yeah.
No, we're still on the wish phase.
I realize that, but
We ain't got that yet.
that increases the wishes.
That increases the deficit.
I think that keeps you up to 400 now.
Any other questions, Donna?
So, that's pending the state approving a budget, correct?
Oh. Right, it goes away.
You mean the entire payment or this which we're owed
The whole
now?
thing, I can see the whole thing going away.
As in we get no state, okay.
Bob says no problem.
That'd be a legislative change, so I don't know if they can do that legally without changing the law.
Well, that's well put, because that's kind of my question. It looks like the legislators would have to vote to, I'm assuming those are statutory.
That's another thing. Our shortfall is not fair to anything from the state.
The legislature says they have to reimburse, does it state how much?
Half, mine's half, based on, but I have to meet certain performance criteria for that. And as long as I meet them, they're required to reimburse.
Any other questions on the finance committee report? Seeing none, clerk call the roll, please.
Hanson.
Yeah.
Kasbargen.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes.
Crumley.
Yes.
Lamine.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Schmidt. Schultz.
Yes.
Stewart. Whitlow.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Biddle.
Yeah.
Crow.
Yes. Oh, one more question. That August 27th date, since policy and procedure's been moved to the 28th, what are you gonna do with that? Page 2, paragraph.
27th at 9 a.m.
You're gonna leave it there?
Curtis.
Yes.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
I apologize
That's
for...
okay. Now we're done.
Motion carries 18-0. Next up, Lawler.
Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, the committee to whom was referred management services abilities and please submit the following report on the matters before us. Your committee met at the administrative center on August 3rd, 2015 at 9 a.m. Members present were Barron, Crowe, Sure, Alt, Hathbarden, Jim Walt was absent. Also present, maintenance supervisor Larry Sankey, and 5 minutes, and county board member Gene Tyler. The meeting was called to order. There were no public comments. Parents reported we do have budget numbers for County Farm Waterway, but it will not be completed until next year. Management Chairman Lyle Barron stated that the proposed changes on the County Farm contract were reviewed and approved by State Attorney Jim Devine. It was moved by Larry Hathbarden and seconded by Donna Crowe to let the County Farm contract out to bid. The roll call vote was taken. Donna Crowe, aye. John Shore, aye. Charlotte Alt, abstained. Larry Hathbarden, aye. Lyle Barron, aye. Motion carried. Maintenance supervisor, 5 minutes, reported on the phone. The roof project has started. The upper section is almost complete. After some roofing was replaced, heavy rains caused damage to ceiling tiles, carpet. Label installation will be willing to cover the cost of damage. Since received a quote of $3,618.98 for new carpet in the finance office, an estimated 30% was caused by the leak in the roof. Label installation will be responsible for paying approximately $1,085 of this bill. Vince also noted his part-time janitor worked an additional 5 hours to assist in the cleanup. Iroquois Paving has patched the parking lot marked out, and it should be taken care of this week. They have coordinated with the seal coating company. Vince stated the backflow preventer was certified by the city of Waseca. The boiler project is on schedule and will be done by the end of the month. The heat pump and public health department is on lockout for high pressure safety. This is something Vince is keeping an eye on. He said it may be a compressor or a blower motor. Maintenance supervisor Larry Pankey reported on the following. Lineways completed the roofing project at the jail. Pankey will ask them to check the courthouse roof seams and patches. During heavy rainfall, seepage occurred in the basement. There are no updates on the lighting drain. The committee discussed the replacement of carpet and painting in the finance office due to water damage. Vince repeated the quote he received for carpet installation. He also noted label installation will be paying for an estimated 30% of the claim. Painting of the office would be done by men. It was moved by Crowe and seconded by Hathbarden. Which was the replacement of carpet and paint and painting in the finance office pending review of insurance coverage and payment from Slagle Installation Inc. The roll call vote was taken, motion carried. The committee reviewed claims that was moved by Charlie Hall and seconded by Larry Hathbarden to pay bills subject to county board approval. Motion carried by a roll call vote. It was moved by Hall, seconded by Crowe to adjourn the meeting at 9:25 a.m. Motion carried by voice vote. All versus respectfully submitted, and I move for approval.
On the floor, management committee report. Second. Larry, seconds it. Questions? Lay out those numbers, Lyle, for
Okay,
finance office.
total bill for that, $3,846. The county portion of it would be $2,532.60. Legal pay $1,312.40. That. Questions?
The balance that is ours will come out of line.
I would make the budget, yeah.
Questions on management committee report? Seeing none, call roll, please.
Asbargen.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes.
Crumley.
Yes.
Ramin.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Grunwald.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes, ma'am.
Hanson.
Carried 18-0. Up tax committee, Dale Schultz.
Mr. Chairman, members of the county board, the committee to whom was referred tax will beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on August 4th, 2015 at 9 a.m. Members present were Schultz, Crumley, Schmidt, and Whitlow. Dan Persley was absent. Also present, County Clerk Lisa Fancher, Finance Director Anita Spectrum, Supervisor of Assessments Bob Yertler, Animal Control Administrator Dr. Youssef, County Board Member Gene Hiles, and ICPHD Administrator Dee Shipley. The meeting was called to order. The committee reviewed the claims. It was moved by Brett Schmidt and seconded by Jed Whitlow to pay the bills subject to county board approval. Motion carried by a voice vote. There were no public comments. The department heads gave their monthly reports. County Clerk Lisa Fancher reported she and her election staff attended a training regarding the National Change of Address, NCOA. Fancher distributed the statute explaining the law. Fancher noted she didn't think there would be a huge cost involved in the new law besides the mailing of postcards. Supervisor of Assessments Bob Yertler made the committee aware he has rolled from assessor level to his level. Also, the village of Onarga has requested Yertler do a major reassessment of their downtown area. Yertler reminded the committee that Onarga established a TIF district in 2012. Yertler noted Onarga has 2 people under their employ that are capable of doing this job. However, he received a formal letter requesting reassessment. Tax Chairman Dale Schultz said initially it is the responsibility of the township assessor and suggested responding to their letter. Animal Control Administrator Dr. Youssef provided his monthly report for the committee. Dr. Youssef told the committee animals had to be evacuated from the animal hospital due to flooding and sent to another shelter. Dr. Youssef also asked for permission to have a standby warden to call upon when our usual warden is off for the day. Schultz informed Dr. Youssef we will look into the situation and find out what necessary information we need to gather from the standby warden. Schultz discussed the clerk job position for animal control, reminding the committee it will no longer be handled through the treasurer's office. The software is ready and the computer will be set up in the old zoning office. The job description will be advertised in the newspaper. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Troy Crumley and seconded by Whitlow to adjourn the meeting at 9:38 a.m. Motion carried by a voice vote, all of which is respectfully submitted, signed by all members present, and I move for its adoption.
On the floor to accept tax committee report, is there a second? Rich Smith. Questions on the tax committee report? Seeing none, please call roll, please.
Kyle.
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes.
Crumley.
Yes.
Amin.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Schuer.
Yes.
Whitlow. Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Bill. Crow.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Hanson. Hathbarth.
Yes. Motion passes 15-0 with 2 absent. Up, Health Committee report, Mr. Crumley.
Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, your committee to whom is referred health would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on August 4th, 2015 at 9:50 a.m. Members present, Crumley, Schultz, Schmidt, and Whitlow. Dan Kersley was absent. Also present, County Board Chairman Kyle Anderson, Finance Director Anita Speckman, ICPHD Administrator D. Shippert, County Clerk Lisa Fancher, County Board Member Gene Hiles, and Susan Light with ABRA. The meeting was called to order. There were no public comments. The agencies gave their reports. Suzanne Light with ABRA presented a quarterly report to the committee. The Department of Human Services completed a licensure survey in which ABRA scored a 99% and their license has been renewed for another 3 years. In June, ABRA celebrated the 25th anniversary of opening one of the first CILAs in Illinois. ICPHD Administrator D. Shippert distributed a summary report of activities for community and school health programs, environmental and senior programs, and an updated grants and contract spreadsheet. Shippert told the committee she is waiting on state payments. However, her department is not at a point where a reduction in staff is necessary. Towards the end of August, she may implement travel and training restrictions if the state budget is not signed. Overall, July was a busy month. Shippert's report showed a lot of water samples due to the flood. Most samples came back okay. Food inspections increased due to the fairs. Also, Shippert told the committee West Nile is on the rise again. Shippert stated the health department was very busy with flood activities. Her staff did communicable disease checks at shelters and will continue to do water samples. The committee reviewed the claims. It was moved by Jed Whitlow and seconded by Dale Schultz to pay the claims subject to county board approval. Motion carried by a roll call vote. It was moved by Brett Schmidt and seconded by Dale Schultz to adjourn at 10:04 a.m. Motion carried. All which is respectfully submitted, I move for the adoption of this report.
Motion on the floor to accept the Health Committee report. Is there a second? Charlie Alt. Questions on the Health Committee report? None. Call roll, please.
Joyce.
Yes.
Crumley.
Yes.
Lamine.
Yes.
Raymond. Smith.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Schuer.
Yes.
Whitlow. Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Anderson. Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Hathbarth.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yes.
17-0. IT Committee, Mr. Crumley.
Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, your committee to whom is referred IT would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on August 4th, 2015 at 10:10 a.m. Members present, Crumley, Schultz, Bills, and Anderson. Also present, Finance Director Anita Speckman, ICPHD Administrator D. Shippert, County Clerk Lisa Fancher, and Supervisor of Assessments Bob Yergin. The meeting was called to order. There were no public comments. Finance Director Anita Speckman provided copies of the fiscal 16 IT budget and copies of the area-wide task list to the committee. The committee agreed there are items on area-wide task list that should be negotiated as far as the pricing. There are items in the budget that cannot be negotiated, such as certain software programs. On that note, IT Chairman Troy Crumley said the committee needs to discuss what items can be negotiated, what items are mandatory, and what items are on our wish list. Speckman stated that ongoing service trend is about $2,500 a month for area-wide, and she could lower that line item by $7,000.
Supervisor of Assessments, Bob Yerger, said the county is paying on the low end for the DevNet services. The Internet use abuse policy was discussed. Beckman noted patch updates will begin next month. Reports were run showing top Internet users, and the top 2 of users were addressed by their supervisors. The report showed 44 hours of Internet usage for the top of user. Beckman explained to the committee the county has a policy in place for Internet use. The policy is signed by all new hires and was reviewed by AreaWide. It was suggested by the committee to send the policy out to all employees as a reminder. Last month, Jeff Baser with AreaWide said he would contact AT&T about increasing our internet speed at no charge to the county. The county is currently paying $1,300 a month for a 10 megabyte connection. Mr. Baser spoke with AT&T and was unable to increase the internet speed at no charge, but he did receive prices for the increased speeds as follows: 50 megs for an additional $105 each month, and 100 megs for an additional $223.40 per month. The committee agreed this is not an option at this point due to budget constraints. It was moved by Schultz and seconded by Russell Bills to adjourn at 11:03 a.m. Motion carried. All of which is respectfully submitted, signed by all members present, and I move for its adoption.
Motion on the floor to accept the IT committee report. Is there a second? Dr. Bill, questions on the IT committee report? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Crumpler.
Yes.
Lamine.
Yes.
Raymond. Schmidt.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Shore. Whitlow. Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Anderson. Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Hackbarger.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yes.
Boyd.
Yes. Motion carries 16-0. John Schur, Municipal Public Safety Committee.
Mr. Chairman and members of the County Board, your committee to whom was referred Judicial and Public Safety would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the courthouse on August 5, 2015 at 3 p.m. Members present were Schur, Behrens, Crow, Curtis, Hiles, and Whitlow. Vince Lemie was absent. Also present, Sheriff Derek Hagan, Coroner Bill Cheatham, State Attorney Jim Devine, Probation Supervisor Barb King, Circuit Clerk Lisa Hines, 911 Director Nida Dubel, and Carla Waters with the Times Republic. The meeting was called to order. There were no public comments. Sheriff Derek Hagan's monthly report for July included: Patrol had 602 calls for service for the month of July. Year-to-date calls for service, 3,642, a 4% increase over 2014. Booked in 74 prisoners for the month of July. Year-to-date book-ins, 490. Average daily population in July, 28. Average length of stay for July, 31 days. Year-to-date average population, 24. Year-to-date average length of stay, 13 days. Overtime in the jail for July was 353 hours on the schedule. A part-time correctional officer worked 8 hours. Inmate Services Corporation will transport 1 inmate from California. New roof is complete. Illinois Department of Corrections conducted jail inspection on July 22. 7 improvements were listed on the summary report Hagan provided for the committee. The items included a contract with a nurse practitioner, new natural gas generator purchased and installed, installation of new boiler system, new security camera installed, new roof, lower east and west cell blocks have been upgraded with new plumbing, and a new shutoff valve has been installed. No non-compliances were found. A full report is on file in the county clerk's office. Donna Crow mentioned courthouse security and asked Hagan where it is on his priority list. Hagan answered he would prefer he have an armed deputy in the courthouse. It was also mentioned that there are 4 armed probation officers in the building. Coroner Bill Cheatham told the committee he would be gone for 3 days towards the end of the month for continuing education classes. Cheatham said only one autopsy was performed last month. Probation Supervisor Barb King reported they are slowly graduating kids out of juvenile detention. Also, a copier was purchased for the adult probation department. State's Attorney Jim Devine gave an update on a federal lawsuit filed against Sheriff Derek Hagan. Inmate James Artullo filed a lawsuit stating he did not receive appropriate medical care while in custody of the Iroquois County Jail. On July 13, a federal judge dismissed the case. Mr. Artullo has until August 17 to file an appeal. Crowe spoke about the $60,000 projected for special attorney hire and reminded the committee the judges spoke about the possibility of hiring an additional public defender. Circuit Clerk Lisa Hines distributed her monthly report to the committee for review. Hines told the committee she is transitioning into a new collection agency and does not have a report this month. 911 Director Nida Dubel issued her ETSP report for July. Total calls for service 2,086. Police 1,359. Fire 128. Ambulance 361 with 185 change of quarters. Coroner 29. Animal Control 24. Last month, 15% of 911 calls received were landline and 85% were wireless, with a total of 1,641 911 calls received. There were 4,666 non-emergency calls received. Telecommunicators worked 216.5 hours overtime in June. The director worked 24 hours on radio, 8 hours of which was training. New telecommunicator in training. The 911 Center was honored to have the Lieutenant Governor in the 911 Center yesterday to thank the telecommunicators for the job they did during the flood and for what they do every day. Jubal is presenting her budget to the Finance Committee on August 6th. Courthouse security was discussed. Judicial Chairman John Scherr provided a proposal from Kankakee Glass Company for furnishing and installing bulletproof glass. The proposal ranges from $7,000 to $8,600, depending on the level of material installed and the location the glass would be installed. Scherr said we can continue to investigate other avenues of security, or we can table the matter until funds are available. Jed Whitlow stated we heard the sheriff's opinion on how security could be improved and how he feels we should proceed, which is an armed deputy in the building. The committee agreed to keep the information that has been gathered thus far on file for a later discussion. The committee reviewed claims. An error was found with a claim to Big R. The incorrect invoice amounted to $4.05, which will be corrected in the finance office. It was moved by Gene Hiles and seconded by Jed Whitlow to pay the claims, with the exception of the incorrect invoice to Big R in the amount of $4.05, subject to county board approval. A roll call vote was taken, motion carried. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Hiles and seconded by Lyle Barons to adjourn the meeting at 3:52 p.m. Motion carried by a voice vote, all of which is respectfully submitted and signed by all members present, and I move for its adoption.
Motion on the floor to accept the Judicial and Public Safety Committee report. Second. No? Any questions on the report? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Meade.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Schuer.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Crowe.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Hanson. Asbarger.
Yes.
Hiles.
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes.
Crumley.
Yes. Carried 17-0. Next up, Planning and Zoning Committee, Dan Rand.
Mr. Chairman, members of the County Board and Board Committee, please refer to Planning and Zoning with Big League to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on August 7th, 2015 at 10:15 a.m. Members present were Payne Raymond, Ernie Curtis, and John Scherr. Adam Zumwalt and Troy Fernley were absent.
Also present, Supervisor of Assessment Bob Yergler, County Board Member Charlie Hull, and Iroquois County resident Marvin Sticknall. The meeting was called to order. There were no public comments. The committee reviewed the Planning and Zoning Office report for July. It reads as follows. Building permits, July 2015, residential, 9. Building permits, fiscal year 15, residential, 48. Agriculture, 11. Wind towers, 1. Building inspection, July 2015, 69. Zoning Board of Appeals, August 26, 2015. Ed Hansen would like to add, in addition onto an existing building on his property, closer to the road than the 80-foot required setback. He is requesting a variance for the road setback from 80 feet from the center of the road to approximately 30 feet, more or less. This tract is located in Section 32, Shabanza Township, P29N, R14W of the 2nd PM. The permanent identification number is 03-32-100-003. Planning and Zoning Chairman Dan Raymond told the committee that State's Attorney Jim Devine was unable to attend today's meeting due to his staff shortage in his office. He will attend September's meeting to discuss enforcement of ordinances, Regional Planning Commission, and subdivision ordinance revision. It was moved by John Schur and seconded by Ernie Curtis to table discussion on enforcement of the ordinances and Regional Planning Commission and subdivision ordinance revision. A roll call vote was taken, motion carried. Committee reviewed claims. It was moved by Curtis and seconded by Schur to pay the bill subject to county board approval. A roll call vote was taken, motion carried. Under new business, Schur asked the committee would be continuing to review other ordinances once they had moved on from the subdivision ordinances. Raymond answered yes. The committee should constantly be reviewing ordinances and was open to suggestions for what ordinances to review next. Supervisor of Assessments Bob Yergler suggested the nuisance ordinance and Schur suggested the kennel ordinance. Raymond stated that he would add both these ordinances to the agenda next month for discussion. It was moved by Curtis, seconded by Schur to adjourn at 10:37 a.m. Motion carried, all of which is respectfully submitted and signed by all members present, and I move for its adoption.
Motion on the floor to accept the Planning and Zoning Committee report. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any questions on the Planning and Zoning Committee report? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Raymond.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Crowe.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Half-Bargain.
Yes.
Hiles.
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes.
Crumwitty.
Yes.
Lemay.
Yes. 19-0. Next up, Transportation and Highway Committee, Mr. Bill.
Mr. Chairman, members of the county for this meeting referred Transportation and Highway with Baker Metropolitan report on matters before them. The committee met the Iroquois County Highway Bill on August 7, 2015. At 9 a.m. The present was Bill, Hall, Hanson, Schultz, Hiles, Crowe, and Whitaker. Also present, County Commissioner Joe Moore. The meeting was called to order. There was no public comment. The financial report for the month was reviewed. It was moved by Gail Schultz and seconded by Larry Hansel to pay the bill subject to county board approval. The roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. County highway was $224,876. County bridge was $59,504. County matching was nothing. Township bridge was $25,890. County motor fuel tax was $203,018. Township motor fuel tax was $614,156. County engineer Joe Moore presented a petition for County A for Fitchett Road Township. He stated a box culvert is in need of replacement costing about $30,000. The township and the county will split the cost. So it was moved by Charlie Alton, seconded by Don Crowe, to accept the petition for County A for Fitchett Road Township. A roll call vote was taken, motion carried. Moore presented a petition for County A for Prairie Green Township. He said a culvert is in need of replacement costing about $15,000. The township
Township and the county will split the cost. It was moved by Crowe, second by Dean House to accept the petition to county aid for Prairie Green Township. A roll call vote is taken, and that motion is carried. And motor fuel tax resolution for a culvert replacement on Bryce Road was discussed. The cost of removing the box culvert to be replaced with a pipe culvert is appropriated at $25,000. It was moved by Schultz and seconded by Kevin Hansen to approve the resolution for improvement on the Bryce Road. A roll call vote is taken. That motion is carried. As there is no further business to come before the committee, it is moved by Hansen and seconded by Hall to adjourn at 9:40 a.m. That motion is carried. All which is respectfully submitted, done by all, and I will move to the adoption of this report.
Motion on the floor to accept the transportation and highway committee report, is there a second?
I'll second.
Gene Hiles, second. Questions? None? Call the roll, please.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Schultz. Shore.
Yes.
Dumas.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Anderson. Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Crowe.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Husbargen.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes.
Crumweedy.
Yes.
Lamine.
Yes.
Raymond.
Passes 17-0. On the agenda, we have a motion to approve the claims as submitted. Dale Schultz. Second. Second Hanson. Any questions on the claims? Seeing none, call roll, please.
Schultz.
Yes.
Shore. Dumas.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Crowe.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Husbargen.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes.
Crumweedy.
Yes.
Lamine.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes. Motion passes 17-0. Is there any old business before the board? Any new business? And motion to adjourn. Kevin Hanson and Charlie Alston, second. All those in favor for adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We adjourn.